Okay, let's try and unpack this. When you picture the Grand Canyon, well, I mean, it's just this vast, iconic symbol.
Yeah, absolutely. Instantly recognizable. America's wild beauty, essentially.
A place holding so much history, so many memories for people, and then you hear this devastating news. The Grand Canyon Lodge, North Rim, almost a century old, a treasured landmark.
Gone. Completely consumed by wildfire.
Just a profound blow.
Yeah.
A shock that, goes way beyond the park itself.
It really does.
So today, we're doing our deep dive into the full story behind this loss. What we really want to do is figure out what exactly caused this terrible fire, and why wasn't this structure, this National Historic Landmark, ultimately protected? How did that happen?
Right, critical question.
And then what are the implications now and long-term for the site? Sure, but also for how we think about our natural and historical heritage.
And I think what we'll explore isn't just, the tragic facts, the who, what, where,
Okay.
but how this one event kind of sends ripples, forces us to connect some pretty critical dots.
Dots between what, exactly?
Between cultural preservation, environmental vulnerability, how we manage these wild spaces, and protect our past in the face of new threats.
Got it. Okay. So, the lodge itself, North Rim. It was much more than just a hotel room.
Definitely. More than a place to stay. It was like a living monument.
To what? America's connection with the wilderness.
Yeah, that pioneering spirit, that deep tie to the wild, built back in the late 1920s.
Wow.
A grand structure, welcomed millions over the years. It wasn't just about the views, which were incredible, obviously.
Right.
It had this rustic charm and authentic feel. You felt immersed in the place.
That makes sense.
And that's why it was specifically designated a National Historic Landmark. That's a big deal.
Federal recognition.
Exactly. For places with national significance, history, culture, it ensures preservation is a priority, or it's supposed to.
And architecturally.
It was one of the last great examples of that early park architecture. The distinctive stonework, heavy timbers, those big welcoming fireplaces.
Yeah, you can picture it.
It wasn't just a building, it felt timeless, like a real retreat. And now, all that history, generations of it, just ash.
Reduced to ash.
Yeah.
And the fire itself. The Bright Angel Fire, they're calling it now.
That's the one. Started on the North Rim.
What made it so destructive, so fast? The reports mention rapid escalation.
Yeah, that's key. It was fueled by, a combination of things. Exceptionally high winds, really parched conditions.
The drought.
The ongoing drought. And record-breaking heat. It just overwhelmed the fire crews incredibly quickly, swept through huge areas.
And that speed, that's often overlooked, isn't it? How fast these things can move.
Indeed. The Bright Angel Fire showed what fire experts call crown fire behavior.
Crown fire.
Yeah, where the flames aren't just on the ground. They spread across the canopy, the tops of the trees.
Okay.
And they can move incredibly fast, maybe 20 miles per hour in those conditions. Ground crews just can't keep up.
So defending the lodge directly became impossible.
Pretty much. Despite the lodge having state-of-the-art sprinkler systems, despite them doing extensive defensible space clearing,
Which is...
removing flammable stuff, vegetation around the buildings, standard practice.
Right.
But the fire escalated so rapidly to what they call a plume-driven fire. The extreme heat creates its own weather, its own chaotic winds. It just overwhelmed everything.
Wow.
Eyewitnesses saw the roof completely engulfed, thick black smoke pouring into the canyon. One ranger just said, it was like watching a piece of history burn before our eyes.
Yeah.
Very somber.
Yeah. So that really brings us to the crucial question, the one people are asking, how? How could such an important historic building be left so vulnerable? Especially with that landmark status, knowing the risks out there.
Well, officials point to the sheer speed and intensity of this fire. They acknowledge that even with robust prevention systems and plans, suppressing something moving that fast, that hot, is incredibly challenging.
But it feels like there's more to it.
Well, yeah, this isn't happening in a vacuum. You have years of persistent drought, extreme weather patterns.
Climate change factors.
Linked to climate change, yes. Plus, you have the legacy of decades of fire suppression.
Trying to put out every fire.
Exactly. Which sounds good, but it led to this massive buildup of fuel-dead trees, underbrush across the landscape, highly flammable fuel.
So now fires burn hotter, more intense.
Exceptionally intensely across huge parts of Arizona and the West. And then there's the other layer, the complex legal and, frankly, budgetary hurdles the Park Service faces.
For what? fireproofing these old buildings.
Yeah, what they call fire hardening historic structures. Federal funding for those kinds of retrofits in real terms has actually gone down over the last decade or so.
Down. Even as the wildfire risks are clearly going up.
That's the reality.
So that's a critical point.
Yeah.
Officials might focus on the fire's behavior, its speed, but you're saying budget constraints for like proactive forest management and prevention. Those might have played a role too.
It seems hard to ignore that context.
It really does sound like a perfect storm. Environmental shifts, policy challenges, all converging.
Precisely. The Grand Canyon. We think of it as timeless, serene. But it's facing the brutal realities of a changing climate and the consequences of past management decisions.
Yeah.
Fire seasons aren't just longer now, they're way more destructive. This event, sadly, is just the latest, very stark warning. A new era of megafires.
And the human side of this. For so many people, that lodge was part of their personal history, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Generations visited, people got married there, made lifelong friends, about ensuring historic sites like this in high-risk areas, about how the Park Service allocates resources for fire resilience across all its parks.
And this immediate tragedy, it definitely forces that broader, more sobering conversation, doesn't it?
Inevitably.
Wildfires like Bright Angel, they're not freak events anymore. This is becoming the new normal across the West.
That's the difficult truth. Rising temperatures, the drought, that fuel buildup we talked about. It's created the perfect conditions for this kind of destruction to happen more often.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, what are the experts saying?
They're issuing some pretty stark warnings that many more historic landmarks, cultural sites, they're at significant risk.
If things don't change.
If immediate, decisive action isn't taken. And it's not just buildings, it's ecosystems too, vital habitats.
Right.
There was a powerful quote from a park ecologist going around.
What did they say?
Something like, "This is a wake-up call. We can't protect history if we don't protect the environment."
Wow. That really connects the dots, doesn't it?
It puts it very plainly.
The Grand Canyon Lodge, it may be gone physically, but its memory, its significance absolutely lives on. As the smoke clears, literally and figuratively, this event feels like a profound reminder for all of us about just how fragile these treasures are, natural and historical.
It really underscores that fragility.
It definitely serves as that wake-up call the ecologist mentioned.
It has to.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We hope you'll reflect on what this tragedy really signifies.
Yeah, about that delicate balance between preserving our past and facing the environmental realities of today and tomorrow.
How can we, as a collective, truly honor that past? Maybe by fighting for the future.
The future of our parks, our history.
And our planet. Especially with these increasing environmental pressures we've talked about today. Something to really think about.